Moody and Kuminga obviously played well last game. You're bringing Gary, you're bringing Draymond back today. Just how difficult are your rotation choices today? And, however much of it you want to reveal.
None of it. Yeah, there's definitely more things to consider today, given our performance the other night, given the number of people who are capable of contributing. So we definitely have some decisions to make rotationally, and you can ask me about them after the game.
Hi, Steve. Good morning.
Hi, Ramona.
Hey, I just wanted, this is obviously, I guess, technically qualifies as Silicon Valley, right? And here they have, when you have really good software engineers, another company either buys you or tries to hire your engineers. Do you sort of feel like the Kings did that with some of their staffing and the way they're running things with Mike and Barbosa and all those guys?
I hadn't made that connection, but I'm also well aware that there's been a lot of layoffs in Silicon Valley lately, so I hope that's not an omen for our staff here. And I just think that there's a lot of synergy between the two franchises, because of Vivek being here beforehand, before he took over Sacramento, and what he learned from here. And, he was here at the beginning of, this run with Steph and Clay. And we've had a lot of connections over the years, between, Alvin Gentry, Luke Walton, obviously Mike, but, Harrison. And I'm definitely missing, LB and Luke Laux. And so there's a very strong connection. And I think it makes sense given Vivek's previous experience here.
Do you ever just kind of watch them? Sorry, I'll follow up. Do you ever see some of the plays they run or the way they play and say, hey, I know where that came from? Or do you see that influence in their style?
I think they've really built their own style. I think, having Sabonis has given them sort of a fulcrum offensively, which it reminds me more of when we had Andrew Bogut, to be honest with you. And I think, and Mike Brown was not here with Bogut, so it's a little different. But some of the same concepts, the movement, the spacing, the shooting, the pace, there are a lot of similarities, but I think that's also based on personnel. They've got a lot of shooting, and they've got De'Aaron Fox pushing the tempo. They're playing the way they should play.
Steve, when you look at games 1 and 2 and the way you guys played game 3, what do you think was the biggest adjustment between 1 and 2 and then game 3, mental or physical?
Whatever you categorize taking care of the ball and rebounding. So it's probably both mental and physical, I think, right? Because it's slowing down a little bit, not being in such a rush to make great plays, just that allows you to take better care of the ball, and then having the awareness to turn and find a body when a shot goes up. So it's both.
You've bumped Steph's minutes up so far in this series, obviously with some 2 days off in between these games. How has he looked to you, just kind of accumulation, and does he look fresh, and do you think you can continue to do this?
He looks fantastic. So it's remarkable. I think it's maybe the most underrated value that Steph brings is his endurance. Everyone obviously talks about the skill, but it's the incredible endurance that allows him to utilize that skill on and off the ball, just all the running that he does, and then defending at the other end where he's been really good. It takes so much energy to do that, but he's looked great throughout.
Hi, Steve. Mike said that, back here, you don't stop Steph, you just hope to make him work as much as possible. I'm curious your assessment on the job that De'Aaron Fox and Davion Mitchell have done on Steph so far in this series.
Yeah, they've done a good job. They're trying to put a lot of pressure on him and contain him, and that's Mike's right. That's all you can do is just try to make him work as hard as possible. That's true of all the great players in the league. You just you don't want to give them anything easy. You want to make them earn everything, make them work. It's one of the reasons historically teams have gone at Steph on the other end to try to tire him out. It's not because he's a poor defender. It's because they're trying to wear him out on the offensive side, make him work. And I think that's a fairly common strategy around the league with the great players.
Good morning, back here. This is a very crucial game for you guys to be able to tie the series before heading back to Sacramento. What kind of conversations are you guys having in the locker room to keep this momentum from the last game going to this game and then moving forward to Sacramento?
Yeah, it's just, you keep things very matter of fact. Just you show the film, show the guys what they're doing well, what they need to tighten up with, remind them of the strategy, add a wrinkle or two here or there, and then just move forward. But there's not a lot of time for big philosophical discussion. It's just, here's what we need to do. Let's go do it.
Sorry. How's Jordan's ankle feeling? Like, I know that he's probably going to play and stuff, but it seems like he's been battling that for a bit. So just wondering how he's holding up.
Yeah, I asked him yesterday, and he said it was a lot better in Game 3 than it was in Game 2, getting the extra couple of days. I think he only played 15 minutes in Game 2, and so between the lower minutes and then 2 days before the next game, he was feeling much better in Game 3, and then another couple days between games again. So he's feeling fine.
Coach Kerr, Kevon Looney definitely plays with force, consistency, knows the game real well, from that center position. Just wanted to get your thoughts of what he meant to, the Warriors system.
Everything, he's always on top of the game plan, never makes a mistake. One of the smartest players I've ever been around. He has full awareness of who he is. There's no sense of I got to be this or I got to be that or I want to do that. It's just he understands who he is and he goes out and he does his job every night. And it's crucial for us because everything that he brings we need. The screen setting, the rebounding, the passing, the dribble handoff stuff. The switching defensively, staying in front of people. He's a remarkable player who continually gets overlooked. Every year he's a free agent. Everybody overlooks him because, he doesn't shoot threes and he's not a lob catcher. It reminds me of the old, Buddy Ryan line about Chris Carter. And people were complaining, or people were asking him about Chris Carter, the wide receiver. And Buddy Ryan said, well, all he does is catch touchdowns. And everyone's like, yeah, well, isn't that the point? All Loon does is everything that helps you win. So it's the same. I guess I appreciate Loon more than Buddy appreciated Chris Carter, but it's the same concept. It's like, what helps you win? This is what helps you win, and that's what he does. And for whatever reason, I guess it's because it's not flashy and it's not sexy. People just overlook Loon over and over again.
What have you thought of Clay's series so far?
I thought the second half the other night was the template, drive and kick. He got off the ball earlier. I thought that led to some really good possessions for us, and that's what we talked about yesterday at practice and in our film session for all the guys, but definitely for Clay. Like if he gets off the ball, if he can penetrate and kick, break the defense down, and then kick in, we get the ball moving. We're getting great looks, and that's got to continue. We can't fall into the trap of just taking a lot of quick shots. We need good ones.
Steve, can you talk just a little bit about what you saw with their DHO game with Sabonis and just how you guys went about kind of scheming for that and how important that's been so far?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge part of their offense. He's such a great passer. And, we have experience in the playoffs, trying to take away certain things from teams that thrive on certain actions, and that's all you try to do in the playoffs is force teams to do something a little different than what they're accustomed to. So far, I think we've done a decent job of it. Not perfect, but just trying to stay physical and put a lot of pressure on the perimeter and take away the ease with which they normally get to those dribble handoffs. And we're going to have to keep going because they could break out at any moment if we let our guard down. Thanks.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning, Coach Brown.
Morning.
Keegan Murray, I know you talked about this the past few days, but if you don't mind me asking again, have you spoke to him about? Have you spoke to him? About get him into a point where he's more confident in shooting those long range shots.
My message has been the same to Keegan today. Just let it fly. If you're open, let it fly. I mean, what he's going through now is invaluable. I couldn't script it better for a young man like himself who's going to be really, really good in this league to be able to hit some adversity in a situation like this, obviously on this level. It's obviously you hope he's making shots, but for him to try to go through this and figure it out in year one is good. But gotta let it fly. I've been telling him that the whole time. We'll live with whatever happens.
Mike, back here. You've talked about guys like Delly speaking at team dinners and the experienced guys sharing with the rest of the team what it's like to go through the playoffs. I'm curious, how have you seen those guys and other experienced guys help during huddles or during timeouts over the course of this series?
They're constantly chattering. They're talking to guys. Delly's been great. I don't know if he wants to do this, but he would be a freaking fantastic coach whenever he gets done playing, And I know he still has a lot of basketball left. He's got a huge love for the game, but his demeanor and intelligence and all that other stuff is off the charts. Way. Everything's way better than me. He's better than me. He's that good. He's good.
Hey, Coach, over here. With Draymond back and after the game that Looney had last game, what do you need from Domas and guys like Alex Len to match that physicality?
Not just those guys. I mean, Draymond is too, but Loon's a heck of a rebounder, offensive rebounder. And so, those guys got to continue to work to try to put bodies on them, but we have to sometimes send a second body to Loon, to gang rebound because he's that good. He's smart. He's long, he's real big, and he uses his angles really, really well. So it's got to be a collective effort.
Coach, good morning. How are you?
What's up?
Hey, I'm just wondering how much you've learned just beyond the Warriors staff that you've taken with you here and maybe even used here or just in the way to approach situations like this or positions like this.
I mean, you learn a lot. I've learned a lot from those players, from Steve, the rest of the coaches. But as you get older, you kind of reflect back and you look at different situations with other coaches. From me being with, Bernie Bickerstaff, Tim Gergovich in the summertime, Rick Carlisle in this situation. Obviously, Greg Popovich. I don't know if I said that or not. And you kind of have a better feel and understanding of when they do certain things in certain situations. And sometimes you rely on stuff from back in the day, and whether it's the way you message to your team or prepare your team or decide to have practice or not have practice or how much film to watch, there's always things. I've been fortunate, blessed, lucky, not just to be around great players and people, but also great coaches. And I've learned a lot from them, and I still lean on some of the things that I've learned in the past.
I know as a writer, we all kind of take some time to find our own voice, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I spent the first maybe 5-10 years of my career kind of copying other people's styles. I read Marcus Thompson, right?
Yeah,
some other folks in the LA area, Bill Plaschke. And then all of a sudden you kind of find your own voice. Do you feel a little of that now that you're with the Kings in this spot?
100%. I don't know how a lot of these guys do it. I give Dan Gilbert a lot of love. He hired me at 35 years old. I'd only been an assistant, I think, for maybe 6 years, and he gave me an opportunity, took a chance on me, and I'm more than appreciative of that, and I always will be. And there's a lot of young coaches in this league, and I'm just like, man, that dude is good. He's way better than me because I know when I was young, I had a lot going on in my head, and I don't have as much going on in my head. I think my biggest worry is my grandson, and that's probably about it. But yes, you do mature in a lot of different ways as you're in the business, just like any other business, for sure.
Hey, Mike, first off, let's make it clear. I want to be like Ramona Shelburne.
I ain't mad at you.
You know very well, how long a series is. This probably feels more like game 86 to some of us. how do you convey just how long a series is to people who haven't been through a long series, or is it even possible?
That's a great question. You can talk till you're blue in the face, and you don't obviously want to talk too much because your voice gets repetitive, but our guys just have to kind of go through a lot of this, but we've told them from day one, hey, it's one game at a time. It's a long series. Don't get too high, don't get too low. They have to feel us being pretty even keeled. We still got to have a good time. We got to laugh and joke and all that other stuff. But until you actually go through it a few times, it's really hard to tell. But give our guys credit. We, during the season, we broke the season down into 5-game mini seasons, just trying to tell them how not to look at it as a whole. Because if you look at 82 games and you keep looking at, well, you're 13 and 15 or whatever it is. I mean, you're like, oh man, we've played a lot of games. We got a lot of games still left to play. So we've preached from day one, trying not to look at the big picture or the whole thing and try to break it down into parts. And so what we've been doing is just say one game at a time. Each game is different.
You've been asked about your team's three-point shooting. Like every game, the percentages haven't been great.
Yeah.
When you talk about, you mentioned with Keegan, just let it fly. Do you just want your guys to let it fly? At some point, do you have to try to change the looks? Do you like the looks you've been getting?
Yeah, I do like the looks that we've been getting. You give Golden State credit. They're doing a great job, too. But, and that part of the reason that, I've told everybody, I've been telling everybody that, yeah, Domas has been to the first round. Yes, Kevin got past the first round one time, and Trey might have been in the playoffs. But like to have a significant role and have a huge impact and get to the second, third round of the playoffs is really hard, and it's a challenge, especially if you haven't done it a few times. And there are a lot of different challenges, and one of them is, everybody says that I know a lot about Golden State. Well, they know exactly what we want to do, too. They're taking us out of the stuff that got us great rhythm shots during the course of the year. And so you give them, their staff, their players, credit for it. And what does that mean? That means that players have to have a feel of being able to make different open shots throughout the course of a series that they're not maybe used to during the regular season. And if this is your first time doing it or first time in a significant role doing it, especially against the NBA champ, that's a different shot, especially when you got someone on your behind on the other end of the floor telling you to bust your ass playing defense, chase them, block it, and the intensity level, all that stuff is up. So now you're exerting more energy physically and mentally that you haven't done in the regular season. So, so our guys have to understand these shots ain't going to be the same. What that means is we got to figure it out. And part of figuring out is going through it. And we'll see if we can go through it this year and keep advancing, or if it catches up to us, and this is just something that we have to get hit in the face with, and then maybe get hit in the face with again, and then finally figure it out. I don't know, year 2, 3. I don't know, but I'm confident that our guys can figure it out. They don't seem tight. They're all great shooters, and we're encouraging them to shoot it, because that's our strength, and so we have to figure out those situations from this point on. If not, then maybe we'll have to wait till next year. I don't know.
Mike, back here. Just curious, you've alluded to it a little bit, but given it's a young team going through this type of experience for the first time, how do you think, just collectively, that they're handling the intensity of these games, the spotlight of these games, and in particular, how do you think they handled it in Game 3, and what's been the messaging going into this one?
No, they're doing a great job. I'm not. There's nothing that. Obviously, there's coaching stuff like, hey, we got to box Sloan out. We got to gain rebound against Sloan. We gave up a couple of uncontested transition shots that we haven't given up. And, they're the NBA champions. That's some of those things are going to happen, but the ones that you got to try to eliminate are the second chance opportunities, or them winning the possession game, especially getting more free throws than us. Those are things that we have to control a little bit better so that when we do play great defense, they're not getting another crack at it and scoring 25 extra points after shooting 40%. You think you hold Golden State, or you think Golden State shoots 40% from the field, I think 32% or whatever it is from the three-point line, you think you got a pretty good chance to win, no matter how bad you shoot the ball, because you feel pretty confident in your offense. And so, yes, I can nitpick from that last game, but at the end of the day, my biggest complaint in the last game was Golden State's ability to offensive rebound, not our quote-unquote inability to make shots, or maybe turnovers actually too, but our turnovers and the way they converted into points. But that's it. And in practices, team dinners, and all that, guys have been fine. They've handled it fine. Proud of them.
Hey, Coach. Last game, Keegan got into foul trouble early. I think it was 3 in the opening quarter. How do you kind of balance telling the guys, come out and match their physicality, but also be careful and be smart? At this point, you can't. I mean, the game is a physical game. They're holding, bumping. We're going to have to hold. We're going to have to bump. And, officials going to have to call what they see. And we're going to have to live with the results. But I can't tell our guys to back down, just like Steve's not going to tell his guys to back down, because, it's a game of will out there. And whoever has the most will will probably win at the end of the day.
Mike, just back to Keegan for a second. I imagine yesterday there might have been a certain degree of sarcasm there when you say you cuss his ass out for passing up shots. Can you think of an instance where that led to something kind of special in a following game after having a moment like that with him?
Probably every day. I probably curse at Keegan a lot, So something special usually happens, at least during the regular season. We'll see if it could change during the playoffs. Yeah.
Mike, so much is being made about the experience factor now and even leading into the series. I'm curious, like when you look at Fox, how he's one who seems to be rising to the occasion. Like, what are you seeing from him on the floor, behind the scenes, in terms of leadership and the way he is directing this team?
No, he's growing. I thought in Game 3 he could have had a little bit more sense of urgency with his ball pressure defensively, at the point of attack defensively. But he's, for this being his first playoffs, he's been pretty darn good. He's been good. I like his demeanor, like his approach. I like the stuff that he's saying to the team. We just need him to continue. He's going to have to be a two-way player. He's going to have to not only score for us and make plays, but he's going to have to defend opponents, one of their best perimeter players, i.e. Steph at times. And, not obviously Steph doesn't have to do that, and some other guys don't have to do that, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles in this situation, and he's more than capable of doing it, and he's handled it as good as anybody for being in the playoffs, especially against the defending champs. It's for his first time. Thanks, everyone. Thank y'all.